Small disclaimer first, this video will actually show where to find the bot and sort of how to use it, I guess. Everybody who has a problem with that is probably not able to use Google, because if you actually Google Hearthstone bot, then you can find a Hearthstone bot. So I will explain what's behind Hearthstone bots and how they operate nowadays, and why it's so annoying to read about bots in every stream chat nowadays, because up until a couple of weeks ago it was probably pretty easy to distinct a bot from a human player. Nowadays it's not, and I will exactly show why. So I'm going to use Hearthcrawler as an example. Hearthcrawler is a pretty common bot, and it's probably the one that I would regard as the one with the most potential, and the reason for that is not only what is listed here, so it has quite a lot of support for cards and custom classes, and you can have all these things running in the background, all that stuff. And of course they sell it for money. But it's also because the producers of Hearthcrawler have also created bots for World of Warcraft, which are up until this day still operational, so Blizzard hasn't found a way to actually deal with the botting problem in World of Warcraft according to the users' wishes. So it's giving a lot of players headache, it's giving Blizzard headaches. So you have experienced developers, and then you also have a community. So you can go to the Crawler forum, and they have all these kind of things going on here. For example, Warcrawler, World of Warcraft bot. And they also have Hearthcrawler. So that's a bot for Hearthstone, and they started developing this pretty early. I think in the beta days already, and it's pretty sophisticated nowadays. So, for example, you have a custom classes forum where people are coding custom AIs for different classes. And there's this thing called Ultimate AI, which is an AI, or basically the bot itself, if you would regard it as that, you know, the thing inside of the bot program that's making the decisions, which is being developed from the entire community all together. So a lot of people are working on this and making suggestions. The reason why I'm talking about Hearthcrawler before any other bots is the fact that Hearthcrawler has recently introduced something which I would call human behavior. So there was a post somewhere here in these forums where they said, you know, it's coming and it's implemented already. So what the bot is actually trying to do nowadays, it's trying to behave human. So what it does, it's hovering cards, it has wait times, so it kind of doesn't perform every action in the way you would a bot expect to behave. It doesn't just perform an action after an action after an action with the same set of time or the same interval between every action as it used to be. So nowadays it has become pretty hard to tell whether you're facing a bot or a human being, because the bot behaves from what's visible much like a human. So if you get your hands on Hearthcrawler, you can actually do so, and you know, I'm not supporting Hearthcrawler, so I will tell you that there's cracks for this. So there are actually people who are cracking the bots. So, you know, the botters are trying to break our game, and then there's people who break the bot and make it available for free. So that's even worse in some regards. But since I'm not supporting them, I can tell you, and you will find that if you Google. So once again, you know, don't flame me for this. It's just all out there in the internet. You can find it if you look for it. So here's the thing. There's a variety of AIs able. This is an older version. I actually have never really used this, and I won't. I will explain why in a second. So you can, you know, code your custom AIs if you have any idea of how to code things. And if you start this program, which I won't do right now, it will actually run in a way which is hard for any kind of thing that Blizzard would implement into Battle.net or into Hearthstone to see. So it's not showing up in your process list in the task manager like you would expect it to. So for example, you have in your process list in Windows, there's a lot of things which, you know, are easy to identify. For example, the task manager just is called task manager, and Steam is called Steam, and, you know, OBS is like that, and, you know, Chrome is called Chrome. But if you start Hearthcrawler, it's not going to be called Hearthcrawler. It's running in there, and it's hard to detect. So if Blizzard wants to combat this bot, they can't do it in the old-fashioned way of just checking whether you're running a program, which is not allowed. So the only real way for Blizzard to determine whether you are using a bot or not if they detect a pattern in your kind of play. So if your play looks like it's coming from a bot, if it has a certain pattern to it which is easily identified, then you will eventually get banned. But if it's not that way, then Blizzard needs to find a different way of determining whether you have a bot running or not. And the way Hearthcrawler works is that if the way it interacts with the game. So if I start Hearthstone and Hearthcrawler is running, then what happens is it tries to interact with the program like a human would. So it basically emulates mouse movement. It simulates mouse movement. So if Hearthcrawler were to inject itself into the game in a way which was easily detectable, then the bot would be very easy to identify and ban. And your account would be banned really quickly. But since the creators of Hearthcrawler have such a long experience with creating bots and hiding them from Blizzard, it's not going to be that easy. So it has become really, really hard to combat bots nowadays, since they start to behave like humans. So they wait, they hover with cards, they use the pointing arrow thing, It's not visible anymore. And the reason why I won't start the bot right now and show you how it's run is that I think that Blizzard is onto it. And Blizzard is known for doing something which is quite tricky. If they detect that somebody is cheating or using a bot, then they won't ban him immediately. But instead they will wait for a while and then ban a lot of people at the same time. And that has the reason that if they would ban one person at a time that's using a bot, then the creators of the bot and the users of the bot would know that it has been identified and would all start using the bot at the same time. But if they let it run for a while and really identify it and find out what's behind it and how to combat it, then they can ban all the people at the same time and they gather a lot of information. So the reason why Blizzard is not going into heavy-duty action right now and trying to ban botters right now, like you would expect them to, is because A, they need to find out how to fight it effectively, and B, they want to ban a lot of people at the same time. So in order to create an effect which will repel people from using bots. So that's the point. If you actually started without Hearthstone running, so right now I don't have Hearthstone running, but I can start it right now, and it tries to go through firewall. That's fine. It then tells me this is an old version. So as I told you, I have not really used this in a while. So that's a problem right now. But the way it works, I can just show you the window. Is you just connect the bot to the internet, and then it you kind of choose the AI which you want to use, and which deck you want to use, and whether you're playing unranked or ranked or arena or something. It actually supports all the play modes in Hearthstone. I don't know if they implemented something like card picking in arena yet. I guess they could if they wanted to. I don't know if they have yet. And there's a couple of settings, and you can edit the behavior for certain cards. For example, if you don't want it to use Frostball to, fight minions early on the board, but instead save it to have like huge combos with Icelands or something. If you're playing Mage or something, then you can use that. So that's kind of how it looks. And I had this thing running in casual for a while to see how it works. That was like 2 months ago or something. So this thing has existed for a long time. Back then it was totally useless in ranked. It was totally useless in arena. But nowadays it's quite useful. It can get up to rank 5 pretty easily with the proper deck, I guess. And that's exactly because people are working on bots together, and they're also asking each other questions like, what is the safe amount of time to bot each day? And they are, looking for help, speed leveling with the practice AI. So it's kind of like they are giving each other tips on, you know, how to really break the game with botting. So, and as I said, you know, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you shouldn't show this, you know, it's so easy to find. Well, it is easy to find, and if you're interested in botting, then go ahead and do so. You know, my opinion, you will all get banned. Every person who's botting will all get banned at the same time, because Blizzard is eventually going to find out how it's done. And they will fight it, and then, you know, the creators of the bot will then go ahead and try to find a way to avoid Blizzard's way of combating it. So I guess that's all there is to say to it. Botting is an age-old problem in multiplayer games, especially those which are very time-intensive, and the community doesn't really realize at this point, which is why I'm making this video. The community doesn't really realize like how huge it is. You know, looking at these numbers, you know, it's a huge thing. It's going on. It's incredibly efficient at the moment. A lot of people are working on it. So it's going to grow really sophisticated up to the point where eventually the bots are going to become so intelligent that they will consistently beat human players, even in the rank area from like rank 5 to rank 1. And eventually a bot is going to reach legend. So that's just, you know, my prediction, because it grows more intelligent with more people working on the code. So if I play the Hunter deck, which is probably pretty fast, it's probably a pretty fast way of ranking up, then, you know, eventually people will come up with really clever AIs for Hunter. So yeah, and as I said, I don't really support any kind of botting. For me, this was a matter of interest, because I was surprised at how quickly they caught up. You know, I've been playing MMOs for years. I've played other games for years, like 8 or 9 years by now, and it's crazy how quickly people came up with really well usable Hearthstone bots. So Blizzard has to do something very soon. They really have to do something very soon, because this thing is growing out of proportions. More and more people are talking about bots, so more and more people will be looking for them, and more people will use them and pay for them, because they don't realize that you can actually crack them. And even worse, if people realize that you can get them for free, even more people are going to use them. So yeah, that's a big problem. And I guess that's all I wanted to say. You know, I guess the biggest point that I'm trying to make is that you can't, unless you really know how a bot is coded, which will then, you know, lead you into these forums, and you will have to look at how the people are actually coding. So, you know, let's go to the general talk part of the AI, and you can probably download the AI somewhere here. You will also find it. You will also find, you know, these basic bot or bot files in the Hearthcrawler folder, and I think you can download. At least I downloaded the folder without paying for it. So I think you just pay for the subscription, but you can download the data for free, which makes it that easy to crack. So let's see. We can just, you know. Okay, this part isn't actually a bot. It just starts. It just starts a class. Yeah, it just starts a function of a bot. I haven't really looked at these, so it's probably in here. And yeah, so I guess that's it. Eventually, these things will grow really sophisticated. And if you wanted to edit, or really know, if you wanted to really know who's a bot and who's not, you would have to look into the commonly used AIs and how they behave and how a Hearthcrawler behaves. You would have to try it yourself and have a look at it in order to really distinct a bot from a normal player. And even then, once the people who are working on the human behavior part of the bot get more sophisticated at their work, eventually, you know, you're going to have no clue whatsoever anymore. So unless Blizzard finds out, you know, how exactly to find out, you know, how is the bot running on the system, and how does it interact with Hearthstone, and where's the point where I can find out? that is definitely a bot. Unless Blizzard finds that out and they just ban the people, it's going to go on like right now. So a lot of botting is to be expected. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, English isn't my mother tongue, and no, you don't have to thank me for this, and yeah, go ahead and, blame me for making it more popular or something. But trust me, the less people know, the more dangerous the thing is. So, the less people know that the NSA is tracking them, the more bullshit they're going to write, which is going to get them into trouble. So same thing here, the more people are talking bullshit about bots without really realizing what it's all about and how it works and how popular it really is and how sophisticated it really is, the more dangerous it becomes, up to the point, where there will be a lot of talking about bots and nobody has a clue what's going on, and everybody's going to be like, well, we can't do anything against this. Anyways, how to find these guys, and if you were really mad, you could probably try to get a lot of people to register here and give the moderators a bad time, which is not a suggestion I'm making. I'm just telling you that there are possibilities to harass, which I personally, of course, would never do. And as I already said, one reminder: if you were to bot, always keep in mind, Blizzard has been known to do this since Warcraft 3. They don't ban you immediately. They will ban a lot of people at the same time, and your entire account with all your cards, everything you purchased, will be gone. So, I warned you at this point. It's your decision whether you want to go and fuck other people's life up with bots or not. Yeah. Alright.